एक आवाज आ रही है, मैं चेक करती हूँ. I'll be right back. And then she never comes back. So I'm saying I have an open mind.
But there were some incidents that happened where all of us were like, just भगवान का नाम लो, shooting खत्म करो, घर जाओ.
Believe me, I had met many producers before. Everybody was just out to make a quick buck out of Lapa Chappi. वो small film shoot हो जाएगी तुरंत. इसमें थोड़ा गाना डाल देते, ये डाल देते. So they really wanted to corrupt the story, and I didn't want to do that.
भाई तू commercial heroine है, तू horror क्यों करेगी? What is wrong with you? And it was 2020. Like my own agency at that time had advised me to not do a short film. They said, what are you going to get out of it?
A child going through any kind of trouble, it's the hardest thing to watch.
This is Nawaz Kochra joining you on screen, and I am here in conversation with the very amazing team of Chhorii 2. Hello guys, how are you all?
Very good, Nawaz.
Well, you know, the after effects of the trailer are still lingering on me because I have just watched it like a few hours back. But fabulous, guys. But I want to begin asking you all on a personal level. How much do each one of you believe in the existence of paranormal, or these horror stories or anything like that?
Right. So for me, I can tell that I have had some experiences which have no rational explanation to it. So I believe there is something out there. If you ask me, have I seen anything? Then maybe not, or even if I've seen it, I have not registered that it's a entity. So yeah, so once if I see it, then maybe I'll completely believe it. Right now, I'm still curious.
Okay.
So I fully believe it. And I don't know how I have that belief. Even I have not experienced any, मतलब few odd things कि यहाँ से यहाँ गिर गया, कुछ आवाज आ गई, all that, but never really seen like live or had people who've seen a ghost or have had a real encounter. But I don't know why I believe in it. I believe in good spirits, evil spirits. I believe in like a higher power. I believe in the whole shebang. I believe in like great life after death.
Okay.
I do. I don't know. Never experienced it, but I believe it. So yeah, I think they are there.
What about you?
See, my instinct is to say I don't believe, and unless I see something, I will not believe. But I know that in movies, that's the first person to die. The person who says, "Oh, मैं तो बिल्कुल विश्वास नहीं करती हूँ इन सब चीजों में."
और मैं चली जाऊंगी यहाँ वहाँ देखने, कौन सा भूत है?
एक आवाज आ रही है, मैं चेक करती हूँ. I'll be right back. And then she never comes back. So I'm saying I have an open mind, and maybe things are possible that I've not experienced. Other people seem to have had things that happen to them. So anything is possible.
What about you, sir?
Where there is normal, there is bound to be paranormal.
Okay.
And we shouldn't assume that the paranormal is always evil. There are dimensions in which spirits exist. I believe that. I believe that they are benevolent as they are malevolent. So
correct.
I'm a believer.
Okay. We often hear stories that when you are working on projects which are dealing with, subjects of horror or paranormal, there are often some instances that happen on the sets also. Ever anything like that has happened with the journey of Chhorii or Chhorii 2 for that matter?
Chhorii 1 a lot has happened. Vishal sir can tell you. Vikram sir can also tell you. We were shooting it in COVID, na?
Yeah.
So what were those oxygen meters?
Oximeters, yeah.
So every day on set, it was a mandate you had to get checked and then enter set. Suddenly, on a few days, all oximeters stopped working. So none of us, we were like, kya ho raha hai? We don't have any idea why they all stopped working. Then that well, where you saw all the kids, the female fetuses thrown, that well was a live location where we were shooting. And he can tell you the story better. I'm very bad at saying this. He's the storyteller. But there were some incidents that happened where all of us were like, just भगवान का नाम लो, shooting खत्म करो, घर जाओ. He can tell you the story.
So there was one local guy who we had employed as a lifeguard there because it was a well, though the water was the level was very small, but still we kept as a safety thing. So he was standing inside the well, and he was a familiar guy, familiar with the territory, familiar with the surroundings, familiar with that particular well also. But on that particular day, we don't know what happened, but apparently he saw something and he screamed and he fainted.
Inside the well?
Inside the well. And he was like a 50-year-old man, right? So it was, when he came back to senses, he said, I don't remember what really happened, but something really did happen. So we have no rational explanation for it.
But there is a backstory. So we were sitting around the well then when he fell, and we were all like, what happened? But there was a slight Makbara type
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
which was like a stone thing.
Very
the look-
old tomb, kind of
type
very
thing,
small, which
which
we had
they had made-
respectfully we had
Huh.
covered and respectfully done all the rituals to keep the person at peace.
So
Right.
maybe that was affecting it.
that was
Yeah.
that was the only
that was
reason.
the only reason
Or
that,
maybe, you know.
because that was the only thing at the well that we were feeling कि इसका कुछ effect होगा पता नहीं. So yeah.
So what I liked about the first part of Chhorii was that the film was also packed with a very important message. Now with the second part, again, it's taking forward the story is what I'm assuming. First there was Lapa Chappi, which was a remake.
Right.
Is there a plan to make Lapa Chappi 2 with Chhorii after Chhorii 2 now?
Not really, because I think now all languages are accessible to everyone, right? So I'm pretty sure the reason why Lapa Chappi was made, because it was limited to a certain state, and I did not want that. And then I met Vikram sir because he saw the potential in the story. Believe me, I had met many producers before. Everybody was just out to make a quick buck out of Lapa Chappi. A small film, shoot हो जाएगी तुरंत. इसमें थोड़ा गाना डाल देते, ये डाल देते. So they really wanted to corrupt the story, and I didn't want to do that. So we actually took almost 2.5 years, or something like that, to meet the right person, which is Vikram sir. Because when he saw the film, when I met him, the vision aligned that this person has a long-term vision, right? And of course, he comes with his legacy of producing so many interesting films over the years. Right. So I knew that the story, the franchise is in safe hands, and I can move ahead with it. Right. And now today, I think that decision was correct for me to collaborate with him, because Chhorii 2 is such a script which only a visionary producer can understand and get it made with the right soul. And this is this guy. So I think that is where we aligned. And the franchisee is such where it talks about something, but we would rather let the story speak for itself, as in when you watch the film.
The right soul. The right soul. Just putting it in context. It's us.
And so with the message also, what I liked was that Indian horror films के बारे में एक वो perception है कि they are a little over the top and over dramatic when you compare it to a Hollywood horror film. But with Chhorii, I don't think so that was the case. Like, I did not find a moment when the film tugs you, you don't come to know. You just go with the flow, and when you start relating to Sakshi's character, it's just you just go with the flow in the story. Right. So were there also reservations on this front कि अरे Indian horror film है कैसी बनेगी? How will it turn out? Did you face anything?
I think you should ask Soha that question.
That was my fear.
He is the right person to ask.
That was my fear, definitely.
Okay.
Because I do consume a lot of horror content, and I'm a big fan. I think that it's just a sure shot, especially like as a group of people, if you want to see something that is going to engross you, you go and see a good horror. But how many of those do I know from Hindi cinema, for example? A few. There's some that I've definitely enjoyed. But in recent times, there weren't many. There's some horror comedies that we've seen. But this is not a horror comedy. This is pure horror.
It's hardcore.
And I thought, are we going to be able to execute this? I know that there's a vision. I know there's a script. And especially with Chhorii 2, they're taking it a level further. I had seen Chhorii. I'd loved it. I'd loved Nushratt in it. I'd loved the way it was shot, the performances, the story. It was terrifying. The moments were also there, but I know that this was going up a notch. And of course, I have full faith in Vikram. So we worked together also. And I know that, when they came to see me, that they had all the right intentions. But, intentions are often not enough. And in this, there was a lot of blind faith. There was a lot of, okay, these people know what they're doing. They've told me many times this is their plan, and they took me through it step by step, especially for my character, that of Dasima, who actually appears in different forms. There's not just one form, there's at least 3 forms at the least.
Right.
That you see of her, with a lot of work, a lot of prosthetics, a lot of VFX, a lot of thought that goes into it.
Okay.
Actually, the kickoff point of the first edition of Chhorii was that this needs to be unlike the conventional definition of horror in India. It needed to move away from the haunted house, bhoot chudail,
Tantric
babas, jump scares for no rhyme or reason. It needed to move away from that format. I saw that in Lapa Chappi. I saw that in Vishal's vision. And we've been very conscious of that from the word go. So everything that you've seen as a progression of the franchise leading up to the second edition now, reprising Sakshi's character with Nushratt, adding Soha as this phenomenal Dasima, all of this has been towards that one core of doing Indian horror in a world-class manner.
Wow. And Nushratt, for you, was there any skepticism, from both the Chhories? Was there ever this, how is this going to be executed?
Of course. In fact, when I did Chhorii 1, it was 2020 when we shot it.
2020.
And I had just come off Sonu Ki Chidu Ki Sweetie and Dream Girl. And those were commercial films in which I'm singing and dancing, looking pretty, smiling and cracking jokes. I don't think, when the film was offered to me, I was also thinking, are you sure you want to do it with me? Means my question was, how did you all visualize me in it? Because, I'd done LSD before and I'd done Ajeeb Dastan, but not to a degree like this.
Right.
But again, I feel like, Nawaz, we've chatted a lot over the years.
Yes.
I've always been an actor who likes to do different things. I've never boxed myself into anything. In fact, the more challenging it is, or twisted it is, or shocking it is for me when I read it, the more I want to do it. Like, I think I'll be the first person who'll say, oh, why can't I play the Dasima or the ghost or the villain, or why can't I play this antagonist or this or this psycho gone girl? Why can't I play that? Like, I think I'm one of those actors who pick up something like that with more of conviction than someone else. But I was asked this question by a lot of people that, bhai, tu commercial heroine hai, tu horror kyun karegi? What is wrong with you? And it was 2020, when it was still fresh.
Right.
So I said, I don't understand why I should not. So I did it. Like, even a short film like Ajeeb Dastan, it was a short. Even then I was asked, like my own agency at that time had advised me to not do a short film. They said, what are you going to get out of it? I said, I don't know, I like the story. We'll see what I'll get out of it. As an actor, I get a lot.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Why? And nobody was doing OTT then. When we shot Ajeeb Dastan, it was pre-pandemic. So there was no OTT in blow up, really.
Absolutely.
So everybody was like, why are you doing a short film on OTT? Not even like a full feature on OTT. So I don't have an answer, Nawaz. I just do things.
But kudos to the maternal instinct that you bring to the film also. Like, as a parent, I was watching the teaser, I was watching the trailer, and it pinched my heart that, oh my God, losing your child is something very scary. You cannot imagine in your wildest thought. How did you get that maternal
It's my biggest
instinct?
fear. I was doing interviews with her yesterday and I said that. I said, for me as an actor, if I have not lived something, I don't know how to replicate that emotion on screen. So I've not been a mother. I don't know what that emotion is. And I feel like, will I do injustice to it? Like, will a parent watch me emote that and feel that, nahi, there is a false note there. Nahi, ye acting kar rahi hai. Matlab, you know what I mean? As actors, we want to do right by the world and the character we are given and we are in. So this was my biggest fear. And thank you for saying this. I feel a little better.
So in the trailer, there is this one scene where you have red eyes and you are, I think so, coming out of the well. Yeah. And I was like, that's the fierceness that a mother can only, show that, for your child, you can just go to any.
I have a question for her. In the first part, she actually wore a belly for quite a few days to get used to the instinct of mother. I want to know, did you secretly adopt a child for this one?
No, I actually did consider it. Though. Let me tell you that. I actually did. I've always felt, even before, when I had marriage ideas and plans, I thought I want to have 2 kids of my own and third one I want to adopt. I was always clear. So I did consider it. I said, let me adopt a child now. I'll be able to do some good also and get some good also. But no, I have enough nieces, I think, and nephews.
So as a parent, did the story also have an impact on you to an extent?
Of course, 100%. I'm on the other side of it, and I'm playing an antagonist. But my whole life has changed after being a parent. So anytime I see any young child, firstly on screen, and I see that bond between a mother and a daughter, and you see a child going through any kind of trouble, it's the hardest thing to watch and imagine happening because they're so innocent. We're okay. I'm okay seeing adults, but I feel like especially with a young girl, and even Ishani's character, I think she was 8.
Yeah,
7.
The actor,
7, 8, yeah.
Hansika?
Yes.
7.
Hardika.
So Hardika was 8 and my daughter is 7. So firstly I was like, it's 11 o'clock, why are you not in bed? Sometimes. And then she was so good also, I have to give her props. Hardika as a performer, superb. The kind of stuff that she also had to endure, perform, imagine. Of course, she was shielded from with the content. But she was incredible.
But
then-
there's only one scene in the entire film, which, and I would never normally say this, but there's one scene in the film when you see it. I said, I can't dub this. I do not want to attempt dubbing this because I put myself through a lot, and that's a mother-daughter scene.
Okay.
To be able to emote that, to get that sound, to feel that emotion. I called him, I said, sir, I can't recreate it so many months later when I'm not on that set and I don't have that child with me and I haven't lived that. I can't recreate it. So I didn't. I said, sir, jo raw sound hai usko dal do, please. But mujhse nahi hoga.
Having an 8-year-old on the set and shooting for a horror film, what are the, measures or precautions you all also have to take when a child is around and, the story is so serious? Because bacche par wo toll na le.
Right.
So how does that work?
So what we do usually, because I work a lot with kids, so in that case what I do is I let the kids sit with the person who is the ghost. So in this case I made her sit with Soha while she was getting ready with the makeup, right? So that she knows that okay, this is a person and there's a makeup being put up on her and then she looks like this. So she knows that behind that makeup there is Soha, right? So that is what we do. So then that takes away the fear that this is some entity. And then only the performance, and then for the performance also we give different kind of stimulus, not all the time we need to show something horror,
Yes.
So we do things which the kid will be safe, But this one was a very smart kid, so she actually wanted the original, everything original. I said I don't. She said I don't want this. I want the original mal, not any duplicity,
Amazing. Lastly, I want to understand that today what has also happened is technology has advanced a lot even in filmmaking when it comes to, and I'm sure there is a decent amount of VFX and animation that has also gone in the film. But now I think so technology is also leveling up in terms of artificial intelligence. As a director, as a producer, how do y'all see AI entering into filmmaking, and as actors, how does it bother y'all? Because today what is also happening is AI can recreate our voices. A lot of patches in the films are also being dubbed using AI. An entire feature film is being made purely being created, characters are being created, songs are being created purely through AI. So as actors, how do y'all, does it bother y'all? And how, as filmmakers,
because
how
they'll
does
still
it?
make those films with AI and we'll be like,
Jobless.
guys, sorry, do you not need us on set?
I find
Do you
it
not need
very,
us to
very
dub?
worrying. I find it very disturbing.
It's very disturbing.
There have been so many technological developments throughout time, and of course, as human beings, we'll find the worst form of using them. It's on the one hand, it's amazing, that you're able to, especially I think in the field of medicine, you're able to do so many things at a faster pace. Things like ChatGPT are incredible. But on the other hand, tomorrow, what are you going to do with your time? If your creative avenues go because a machine is replicating that, what are we going to do
What are we going
all
to
day?
do?
If we're not going to act, if we're not going to write, if we're not going to create, because a machine is doing that for us, we'll be playing pickleball.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, it's
I
like
think that's where the world is leading.
yeah, we're saving time, but saving time to do what?
Yeah,
Like,
so
is
I
the
mean,
question.
it's a bit disturbing.
But as filmmaker and as a producer, how do you look at it?
I have very stark thoughts on this. This is probably the most important debate in our industry at the moment worldwide.
Yeah.
There is no option but to embrace defining technology like AI.
True.
This is here to stay. The idea is to help it enable do our best as human intelligence. There is an inherent amount of creativity driven by imagination in a human being that can be exponentially multiplied with the use of AI. Is it going to disrupt our industry? It already is.
Okay.
It's here. It's efficient, it's fast, it's cost saving. It will open up avenues for creators, for actors to do things that can never be imagined before. At this stage, until super intelligence sets in or general intelligence sets in, I don't think there is a replacement of anybody. If there are fields that are going to be replaced, doctors, education, construction, those are the things that will be impacted first before it comes down to the business of movie making and storytelling. But is it going to change things? Absolutely. Can we run away from it? No. Is it going to be something that if embraced can change the face of how we work? 100%. So it is here. It's only going to help us do better, and I'm all for it, frankly.
Sir, why don't you meet me more often?
What about you?
Or just call and say these things. I love to hear all this, yeah.
100%.
No, I
all around Chhorii 3. Chhorii 3 will factor around AI.
Done. Yeah.
Oh.
Let's do it.
No, I quite align with what Vikram sir has to say. I feel that it is a tool and it can be used interestingly to reduce our cost, do our prep properly, maybe use little bit in VFX and stuff like that to design our projects better. All of those will be there. But what we essentially like as humans is human stories first. Second, disruptors. And if you see the last couple of years in Bollywood, what has worked as the films which have disrupted the pattern, right? Will AI do that? No, because AI is evolved on a pattern, right? So it will keep sticking to the pattern. What humans do is disrupt, right? So I think as long as we keep disrupting, it won't find a certain pattern to align to, and we are fine, is what I feel.
But what when we become the tool? Right now AI is the tool. My worry is when AI develops
By that
on its
time,
own.
I will see at that time.
हम लोग नहीं होंगे आप बोल रहे हो.
क्या
मैं तो नहीं
पता?
होऊंगा तो ठीक है.
नहीं तो पिकल बॉल तो है ही.
आप भी कर बोलते.
Well, lastly, I want to know what is each one of yours threshold of taking horror films, like watching horror films. Mine is like in the mindless. I have watched Chhorii in parts in daytime.
Same. Both of us are same.
Nushratt watches like this.
I watch like that.
And I
go
watch
to-
like this.
No, I go to a theatre with a shawl.
Okay.
Primarily when I watch horror films. And I go with a friend who is a very old friend who doesn't get embarrassed because I'm the only person screaming in the theatre. Like screaming loudly. Huh? If there's a jump scare, I'll be like, ah! Like people
I do
around
that
me,
and
like,
my
"Can you
friends
stop
love
it?"
coming
Yeah,
with me
exactly.
to
You're the
horror
person who scares the person sitting
Yeah,
next to you.
that's
Because you're like,
true.
why are you screaming? Nothing's happened yet.
And then I don't see what's going to happen. I hide and I bug the person. क्या हो रहा है? बता बता.
Yeah.
आई नहीं
Yeah,
आई
and
भाग
then
गई
I take
खत्म हो
it
गया.
out.
Okay. अब मैं नीचे कैसे?
No, I can see, but I can't hear.
Okay.
So I'm the one who's watching the movie like this.
But I watch all horror films. Let me tell you.
But they're
I'm
going to be
a
great
sucker.
partners when they watch horror because one will describe the scene and one will just
I'm like,
describe the
right?
sound. So one is audio and one is video.
What are your thresholds?
I have a great threshold.
Okay.
It's always
Don't
not
lie,
enough.
you're also scared.
I do get scared, but that's the beauty of it. I like to get scared, right? If a film does not scare me, then it's not enough, So yeah, I love.
I was very scared of horror films. I have to admit, it sounds odd after producing a few, but I used to be the guy who used to never watch horror films until I came to this business and it became business. Now I sit through them numb. I enjoy the scares, I like the stories, I like the characters. There's so much running in my head about how are we going to do this, what are we going to make.
Yeah.
The best part is how I was watching the edits of Chhorii, and there would be times that I would look at things, especially promos and other work in my home and odd hours, and I'd just be looking at them and there'd be people around me saying, is everything okay? And you don't seem moved by things that are scary. So I think from a work point of view, it's now become something that I've come to enjoy a lot.
Okay.
And it's a complete change from how I was maybe 15 years ago, where I would not watch a horror film, not with my eyes shut, not with my ears shut. I would not watch a horror film, period.
Wow.
But the world loves horror films because it is kind of works like a simulator,
Right.
It puts you into environments which are that kind of crazy, but you are in a safe space at home. So you know that you're not actually participating in those events, but you're still getting the adrenaline and so it is psychologically it actually makes you stronger in that sense, which is why they work.
If you want to be stronger, please watch Chhorii 2 on April 11th on Amazon Prime Video.
Absolutely. And with that, all the very best. I hope Chhorii 3 is already under works.
Yes.
I don't know. Sir.
I am saying a yes. I don't know, but I'm saying a yes.
I say yes too.
Of
I
course, the
hand
arc
raise.
has only reached midway. Chhorii's only reached her childhood so far. There's a long way to go in the journey of our Chhorii.
Wow. Looking forward to, the film and the parts that are, following us in the future. All the very best and thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nawaz.
Thank you so much.